Hi everybody, it's Rivki from Lev Haolam, and I am coming to you live from Israel. I'm at the Lev Haolam office. You can kind of see the office behind me in Kfar Etzion in Israel. So we're just going to take a minute to let people join. Hi Sarah Rose. I would love it if you guys can just drop an emoji with a flag, or let me know where you're joining from, how you're, feeling today. I have a lot of updates from Israel. It's a lot. So I have a lot to share with you. So we'll just let everybody have a moment to join us. Hi Cliff. It's fantastic. I tell you, you guys, I look forward to this moment all day long because it's just nice to be part of this amazing global community. We're a global community all around the world, and just we're united by the fact that we all love Israel and we all understand how important Israel is. So I think it's so special to see you here. Hello. So California, yes, welcome everybody. It is, as you can imagine, a very heavy week actually in Israel at the moment. So I will give you all of the details as I know them that I can share with you. So welcome. I'll tell you part of my process when I get ready for our Facebook Lives. I take a minute, I go and I look to see if there are any questions that you've left for me to answer during the live, and I did see one from Carolyn, so thank you. So I look at the questions, note them down, make sure that I have an answer if I don't have one right off the top of my head. And then the next thing, I always wait until the day to look and see what the update is. When I planned this live, and I knew it was going to be just a couple of days after October the 7th. So we are a year past that awful black day, that has now plunged us into a war. And it's not, as far as I can tell, going to end so soon. We're in this for a little bit longer, I think. From the time I recorded that and posted it, so much has happened. And I made a little note, but it just started getting longer and longer and longer. And each thing I wrote, then I was like, but wait, I need to tell them about that other thing. So I'm actually just going to take us back. We're going to do short-term history, and then we'll talk a little bit about what it has felt like and meant for us being 1 year after October the 7th. So last week was Rosh Hashanah, which is our Jewish New Year. New Year, in fact, for the entire world. And that was going to begin on Wednesday evening. On Tuesday, I got home. I was planning to go north to visit my dearest friend who lives up there with her family. So I came home and, I was thinking I need to pack. I need to just sort of make sure that the house is organized while I'm gone, that the cats will have, all of that checklist that you have. And I, in fact, took a moment to sit down and I wrote my packing list and I wrote my to-do that I needed to do before I would leave the next day, because I was planning to leave early in the morning. And I was walking into my bedroom and suddenly there was a very loud red alert alarm, but it was different than usual. This one came immediately from the home front command and said, get into your safe space immediately. And I thought, wait, what? And then the red alert went off, and then next thing, the sirens you could hear all around. I see there's a question here from Rose. I just want to quickly see, Robin, your question. It's not all writing here. Yeah, we haven't heard that, unfortunately, here in Israel. So on Tuesday, I don't have a safe room in my house. So for me, there isn't a place for me to go to inside that's safe. Outside, I have what I would consider to be relatively safe. Basically, the idea is that you'll get away from things like windows and glass, right? And there's a stone structure that's sort of built into the mountain near my house. So I usually just go stand with my back against that stone wall. There is an overhang above my head, which is good, because a lot of times people are injured from shrapnel because the Iron Dome or David's sling or the arrow are able to intercept those missiles, but it breaks them apart and then those pieces fall to earth. So the rule is you have to wait 10 minutes before you go out of your safe space. So I thought, well, I better get there. And you guys, I'm at home. I'm in my flip-flops and I'm, not very warm clothing. I go outside. It's quite chilly. Got my back against the wall. The sirens are going and going and going. And normally you see things in the air and you hear the booms. And I didn't see anything for a minute. And then I saw the missiles and I heard some booms and it sort of boom, 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 and the missiles were coming. And then when the siren stops, that's sort of like your all clear but wait 10 minutes moment. So the siren stopped. I waited my 10 minutes. I went back inside my house. I literally sat down to pet my cats because they were very agitated from the siren. Sat down. The moment I sat, the next siren started. My phone started buzzing with alerts from Homefront Command and red alerts. So I went back out into the safe space. And I have to say, I did something you're not supposed to do, but I was curious. I went out of the safe space and up some stairs to see what is actually happening. Because in my experience, the most that I've ever seen is about 3 or 4 like rockets, right? I go out, I looked up, and honestly, I just have never seen or experienced anything like this in my life. It was wave after wave after wave of missiles. And I just was like, I cannot believe this is so many. And they were coming directly towards the center, which means Jerusalem, and if going above my house, heading towards Tel Aviv. And I turned to look where the roof of my house is, and I could see the explosions and the red in the sky and the booms of the interceptions. And, in your head, you think, okay, well, that must be it. And then I looked up again, and there was a whole nother wave of missiles coming. And I was sort of looking at an angle like this, and then I turned and looked directly above my head, and I saw the same thing directly above my head, just dozens and dozens and dozens of missiles. And I thought, oh my gosh, Rivka, Naomi, you better get yourself back into the overhang, because this is literally above your head. So I went back in. Finally, the all clear, went back in my house, the sirens began again, and I was back outside 3 times. And it just, it's interesting because I really think that I, like most Israelis, have a very high degree of just sort of reliance on Hashem, right? He's in charge of the whole show. I also have a great deal of respect for our armed forces and our defense system. So you do really understand that the Israeli defenses they're the best in the world. I mean, it really is so. But when you understand that it's that many missiles coming, that's going to overload any kind of system, right? So on one hand, you're kind of feeling okay about it. You're kind of like, wow, this is happening. And it's, in a way, it's weirdly beautiful, and another way you feel like it's sort of weirdly historic. I mean, being attacked directly by Iran, it sounds absolutely like science fiction, insane. And then on the other hand, the sound of the siren, the sound of the booms, the vibration of the booms in your body, you have an extreme stress response, which I guess this is normal. This is how we are built, fight or flight. And in this case, you can't fight, you can't flight, so you sort of freeze. Anyway, when it was all said and done, I got back in my house. My poor cats, they were totally 100% freaked out. So I was giving them treats and looking after them. But I noticed for myself that it really took quite a long time for me to sort of calm myself down. And, there was a lot of communication between the Lev Haolam team on, WhatsApp and Messenger, making sure that each person was okay, that the team was all right, that our, producers, that everybody was okay. And so then you started to like, well, thank God everybody is okay. And then you're going and catching up on the news and that sort of thing. And I have to just say to you that I was overwhelmed with awe, because nobody can convince me that what we saw that night was nothing short of a miracle. It was absolutely unbelievable that level of attack saw so little damage. And it's not to say that there wasn't damage, but there was some, it was mostly to property, to buildings. And I just thought, whoa, this really is a miracle. It's a miracle, it just, and so yes, I walked around just like you, saying, Baruch Hashem, wow, thank you God, this is absolutely unbelievable. And then of course, just the messages from friends and family from outside of Israel. We wanted to immediately post onto Facebook, to let you guys know what was happening. And normally we try to, edit our videos that they look nice. But in this case, I spoke with the team members and I said, look, let's just put the videos up so that you could see what was happening, but also more than that, know that your Israel family was okay, because we really, all of us over here, feel so deeply connected with you, with our Lev Haolam friends, family, community. And when I saw all of the comments and all of the good wishes, I wish I could have answered every single one of them, but I would still be writing. But I just was overwhelmed. Honestly, I was overwhelmed with a feeling of just so much love and so much care. And, you get it the same way we do. And you're praying and we're praying, and we really all together do trust in God. And so that's really a beautiful thing, and it's nice to have that connection with you. Of course, following that, we don't know what's happening, when it's going to happen. Probably something's going to happen, but what it will be, when it will be, nobody knows. So there is kind of like what I would call a ground level stress for the entire country that's just kind of percolated. Now for this area that I'm in, it has been quiet, like where I live. But I have my red alert set also to my friend Samantha's house in the north. And I have to tell you, it has not been quiet for her. That alert has been going off a lot. And I leave it set on because I want to always say some psalms and just make sure that I reach out to her, find out if she's okay, the kids are okay. And this week, I suppose it was on Monday, there was a direct hit in Ma'alot, which is where she lives. And she sent me some video. The rocket, or the missile actually, hit right next to her son's daycare, which, thank God, he wasn't there. No children are in school at the moment. And that feels very, very close to home. And then yesterday, there was another direct hit, and it happens to be that it landed on her stepdaughter's dance academy. And so, yes, it's very real. There's we all have a lot of feelings in Israel at the moment. I mean, a lot of feelings. And then as I was making my little list, I was like, oh, I need to talk about Iran and what happened there. And then in addition to that, I really, just the news, I was like, but I need to have good news to share. And it's just a lot of really tough news. But you know what? Sometimes it's like in Ecclesiastes, there's a time for everything. And right now it's sort of a time for things that are tough. On Tuesday, the night of the Iran attack, there was also a terrorist attack in Tel Aviv. There were 2 terrorists who opened fire on the people who were commuting on the train. They killed several people. And there was a young man who heard the sound of the weapons going off, and he knew immediately something was happening. And he happened to be a person that carries his own personal firearm. So he came out of the shop to look around and figure out what was going on. And thanks to him, he was able to neutralize one of the terrorists. He was able to save several people's lives. And then, in typical Israeli style, he just tootled off in his flip-flops back home. Nobody knew who he was. The next day, he came back, actually, to the light rail station because he wanted to lay a wreath of flowers for those people who had been murdered the day before. And while he was there, a woman recognized him and came up to him and said, you saved my life yesterday. You saved my life yesterday. And this beautiful young man, you guys, you just can't even make this stuff up. It's just Israel. He was a survivor from the Nova Festival last October. He survived that massacre. He spent 5 months fighting in Gaza immediately following that. And now he's back home and just recently received permission to carry a weapon. And really, thank God, because he was able to save some people's lives. And he did it all in his shorts and flip-flops. And you know, when I hear stories like this, I just am overwhelmed with love, to be honest with you. The Israelis are just people who are so courageous and so willing to do whatever they need to do and can do to help other people. And we saw this on October the 7th, such unbelievable, like, tales of heroism that just will knock your socks off, you know? People who gave everything to save others. It really is just, it's unbelievable. Today, unfortunately, there have been 2 terror attacks. And details are still coming out from that in terms of injuries and if anybody has been killed. So that's, you know, it's a little like we're all, I wouldn't say so much on edge, but we're all hyper aware. I think that's the right word. We're hyper aware. We're noticing what's happening around us. We're staying in touch with the news. We're staying in touch with our friends. We have provisions at home, you know, extra water, extra food, that sort of thing. So it just really is a crazy time. It really is. So that's just sort of the recent news of what's been happening. I initially had thought that this would be a very good time just for us to talk a little bit about last October 7th. And it really was such a, yeah, I see Rose Arifold, he is a hero. Just, it's been a very emotional time in Israel because the thing of it is, it's a year since October 7th, but nothing is finished. We're not at the end of the story. We're not at a place where we can just retrospectively look back from a place of peace or safety. We are in the process at the moment, you know? So that's a strange reality. As we speak right now, there are 101 hostages still being held in, you know, the most harrowing conditions any of us could possibly imagine. And one of the families just found out that their son, Idan Shtivi, he's been declared deceased. He was murdered on October the 7th, but his body is being held. So that's been just really devastating news for that family. And in Israel, it's really like everybody's connected. We're all family together. So I wanted to share part of our experience right now with you, because you are our Lev Haolam community. You are part of our story here in Israel. So I made a trip down south to visit some of the places where some of the things happened on October the 7th, because Israelis are in the process of figuring out how to grieve while we're still in process of everything happening. So I printed just a couple of pictures to show you, but I will tell you I did make some videos that are posted on both our Facebook page and Instagram, so you can go and see them. Very emotional, so I would say be prepared for that. So this picture, I'll just hold it up. This is the site of the Nova Festival. And if you look at this, you can see all of these different posts. Each post represents a person who lost their lives or was taken hostage on that day. So when you go to where the Nova Festival was and you walk through that, you see the photographs of each of the people. The families have decorated the posts with, things that indicate that person's personality. It tells you a little bit about who they are. And it is, to say a tour de force is just such an understatement, but it was incredibly meaningful to experience it. I saw a lot of young soldiers who were visiting. This I walked up to, and of course this is Ori Danino. And you can see it shows he's been taken hostage, bring him back home. And I happened to be there just maybe a week or 10 days after he was actually murdered with the 5 other hostages, including Hirsch, who's American. And to stand and look at his beautiful face, and the name Ori means my light. To look at this person who is just a person filled with so much light, and to see this pleading wish for him to come home, and to know that this is a person who didn't come home, it was very, very painful, very sobering, but I think also very valuable experience, because I see what's happening in the media and the world, and all of us, you and me, we have to be witnesses. We have to be witnesses to the truth. So from Nova, I went to a place called Tecuma. And what happened was on October 7th, so many people were murdered while they were driving their cars. And so on Highway 232, there were just cars riddled with bullets or burned or smashed up, and you can't leave them on the road. But they also contained evidence of the atrocities that happened. There were things that needed to be collected from those cars. So the state of Israel started collecting all the cars at a place called Tecuma. There's a moshav, which is a small agricultural community, and they gave them a field, and the field was cleared, and so the cars started being kept there. So while I was at Tecuma, I'm going to hold this up for you to see, I saw this blue car, and you can see it's smashed out, it's been shot, there's bullet holes in the hood, bullet holes down the side of the car. And this car, this is the car that Ori Danino was driving on October the 7th. And you guys, what happened was Ori gathered together his friends that he came to the festival with, and he actually was able to escape, and he saved them. And then he said, I've got to go back. He had met some people the evening before, new friends. He had known them literally like just a few hours, and his father begged him, please don't go back. And he said, I have to. And he drove back, and picked up the 3 friends that he had met the night before. And while they were driving to try to escape again was when Hamas captured them and took them all hostage. And it's just, you see that, and again, it becomes like a very intense reality. I have another picture here that let me show you that I took at Tacoma. You'll see here that it's one of the cars that was recovered. In the background, you can see burnt cars that are being kept there. And then you see all of these little poppies that are bursting out the back of the car. Of course, poppies are the flower of remembrance. And also this area of Israel around Kibbutz Be'eri in the south, it's so beautiful, my friends. It is so beautiful. Yes, Robin, he did make 3 trips. It is just an incredibly beautiful place. And in the springtime, these red poppies bloom. They blanket the ground. And it is just exquisite. And it really is symbolic of this area. So it has become really a symbol of remembering. And I see here just a comment from Rose. I want to take a look at this. Okay, yeah. Yes, it just, honestly, if I had, 7 days all day to just share with you the stories of heroism, it is remarkable. And I can tell from your comments that you all are looking for documentaries and watching them and remembering people. And I thank you for that, because in a world where truth is being very distorted, it's very important for us to make sure that we are telling the truth of what's happening in Israel and what we're coping with. That day I also went to Sderot, where the police station was under just an unbelievable battle that lasted the entire day long. And actually at the end of it, the entire police station had to be burnt. And you'll see here, this is where the police station used to stand, right? And it's been completely cleared now. We're building a memorial. This building is the building that was right next to the police station, and you can see that there's this beautiful mural art that has been painted on here. Israeli flag, of course, the police flag. Those guys fought so heroically. And it happened on Simchat Torah, such a joyful day of the year. So here you have the Torah scrolls with the letters, the Hebrew letters going up to heaven. You can actually see the bullet holes and the mortar holes in the building. And it's a residential area, so you just turn around and there's a residential apartments. It's really mind-boggling. And then this, I wanted to share this with you. I have to also share with you the beauty of Israel. Now, here we have a very difficult situation. You're in Sderot, 15 seconds from the time the siren, 15 seconds to get to safety. In my house, just for comparison, I have 90 seconds. That's a whole minute and a half. They have 15 seconds to get to safety. So what do? Your children want to go to the park. They want to go play. They want to go to the swings. They want to go join their friends. As a parent, you still want your child to have happy childhood, right? A chance to go to the park, a chance to play. And this is incredible. This is in the park in Sderot, and this fun creature, I don't know, caterpillar, fungi, it's painted colorfully. You guys, this is actually a bomb shelter. So the children can be playing and having a good time. They can zigzag in and out because there's different entrances into this. It's I would say about 21 meters long. It's long, so you can go in and out. It's really a lot of fun. I played in it, and as a parent, you can feel so much better knowing that your children can just be in a safe space, if there is a rocket alert, if rockets are coming over. But you know what? More than that, I tell you, I look for the day that our children and our parents don't have to worry about things like that, that they can just go to the park and enjoy being at the park. But until that day comes, and it will, isn't it wonderful to see Israeli ingenuity and to see, the care for children? It's part of Israeli culture, and it is so incredible. And Robin, I see that you were in Sderot, so you know exactly how it looks. I was watching a video that was made like shortly after October 7th, and it was made from, the body cams and then the light fixture cams in Sderot. And I'm going to save you all the details. Suffice it to say that I was just crying my eyes out while I was watching it because it was so intense. And in the midst of all of this intensity that is, quality for a Hollywood movie reenactment, one of the policemen sees children in the car, and from all of the screaming, shouting, go here, he just stops. It's as if it's any day at his house, and he's like, just calm to them completely. Don't worry, I'm here. It's okay. We're going to take you. And I just honestly was floored. And I thought, how on earth do you make that pivot in the middle of that situation? And he did. It was so natural. And I have been thinking about it multiple times since then, because it really, for me, is an indicator of what Israeli culture, what Israeli society is like. And I always feel very honored to be able to share that with you. This, incredible community who loves Israel. But Israelis, if you ever are in a difficult situation, you want Israelis with you, because they will jump into action. They will do everything that they need to do. They will look after you. And when it comes to children, our kids are everything in Israel. They're just everything. They're the future. And we know they're in a tough place and they're going to grow up, have to go to the army. So we do everything we can for our kids here in Israel. And it's really something special. Of any place that I have either lived or traveled to in the world, I've never seen anything like that. You go to a restaurant, and if their kids being rambunctious, people are really annoyed. Don't those parents know how to take care of their kids? Why didn't they get a babysitter? We're trying to have a nice dinner. What are those children doing here? There's a lot of irritation and upset that these kids are, maybe being rambunctious, or you can hear them, or they killed the vibe. And in Israel, it's completely the opposite. If you go to a place and everybody's like super well behaved and there are no children being joyfully expressive, it's like it doesn't happen. We just don't experience that here. So we really just, we love our kids, we love each other, and if one person is hurt, everybody is hurt. And it goes for our community too. I just see a message here from Susan saying that in Florida, oh my goodness, I had seen that there was a hurricane, a Category 4. Oh my goodness, Susan, I hope that you have sandbags and wood for your windows. So everybody, we can definitely send a lot of prayers and love to Susan and to Florida in general, just that, God willing, you'll come through this safely. And just let us know, please, that you're okay. And we're going to have better days. This is the thing. I've read the book, and I do know ultimately how the story ends. And it ends well. It really ends well. So that gives me a lot of energy, a lot of strength, a lot of motivation. And you know what, you guys? We are going to celebrate good days together. We're going to have good news to share. In the meantime, we're going to pray for each other. We're going to pray for you. You're going to pray for us. And we're going to trust that everything is going to work out. But in the meantime, we do have to put a lot of energy into it and a lot of prayer and just please God that our hostages will come home to their families, that this is where they deserve to be. Every time I come home, every day when I drive home, I think to myself, something that we so take for granted, that we come home at the end of the day. And it isn't something to take for granted. So it is one of my gratitudes that when I come home, I have a home to come home to, and I'm able to come home. So I'm very grateful for that. And there is so much to be grateful for. And these terrible terrorists, this evil enemy, is not going to rob us of our joy of life, of our ability to get up in the morning and thank God for everything that we have, to step outside our doors and to do everything we can to build the land of Israel, to let this land bloom as it is, whether it's blooming in the desert with date trees, or whether it's blooming in Tel Aviv with startup businesses. However it is that the blooming is happening, we are not going to stop working. We're not going to start showing appreciation for the gift of living in this beautiful country, in the land of Israel. It's nothing to take for granted. For over 2,000 years, our people yearned to come back home to Israel, and we have the gift of being able to come back home. And what a gift that is, both in the sense of coming home to Israel and in the sense of coming home to our homes. So, my friends, I love you. I thank you so much for your support. And please know when I say that, I'm speaking on behalf of the entire Lev Haolam family here in Israel, both the Lev Haolam team, but also all of the producers that we work with. They really are overwhelmed by your love and your appreciation. And without question, they need that love, they need that support, they need that help, really more than ever before, because, and I saw somebody said this, to keep on blooming. We do have to keep on blooming. So you are our gardeners, and you are giving us the water and the nutrition that we need to be able to keep on blooming. So thank you for that. And I see there have been a lot of comments. I wasn't able to read them all while we were talking here. As you know, I always take a look at these and I will respond to them, because every precious word that you share with us, it's meaningful and it definitely lifts us up. So from all of us in Israel, thank you. And yes, Am Yisrael Chai. You guys have a really beautiful week. Those of you who will be fasting for Yom Kippur, Tzum Kal, have an easy and meaningful fast. And I will be going almost live soon for the Berkat HaKohanim from the Kotel. So I'll post an announcement onto the Facebook page and the Instagram page so that you'll know when that's coming up. Because I think that's very special, and I just feel so honored to be able to share these special moments with you. So everybody, love you. Thank you. Have a great week. Bye.